So we have chosen to fully invest and work with the mages. I'm sure that's going to have some people concerned. We're going to go to the war room first, and then we're going to talk to all of those potentially concerned parties. But hopefully we can put their minds at ease. We shall see. That is not where the war room is. No, it isn't.
The Inquisition appreciates your assistance in this matter, Lady. And my...
Okay, so we have an extra perk. Let's check this out, shall we? We got a couple in here. Underworld knowledge, rider's posture, training and proper weight distributions during hard riding significantly increases resistance to being unseated. That's not that big of a deal. Secrets wise, arcane knowledge related to the Fade or arcane studies. It's kind of cool. Detailed studies show how to get the maximum usable things. Training in spotting where the pattern breaks in nature civilization. Got significant increase to the discovery range. Right, the searching action. I have to review these all the time because we don't get them frequently. Politics, discounts, and money, basically. Purchase a shipment of rare and valuable raw materials for crafting. I don't know that we need that yet. Inquisition-wise, history about the Chantry, field inventory capacity is actually not a terrible idea, but I could just do better at selling. I think we're gonna go. Oops, no. Oh, am I committed now? Did not mean to do that. Oh well, that's okay. It's I wanted to do one of the dialogue ones anyways, so okay, it's all good. Now we've got a few things available here. Let's see if we have any in Orlais that are done. I don't think so. Yeah, okay, so we have a whole bunch to do. And what is this one on Ferelden's side? Your heart shall burn. Available, cost 1. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, we want to hold off on that for a bit, but that's kind of interesting. Okay, upon the waking sea, the Alamari runes found in the mountain passages outside Haven have finally given up more of their secrets, pointing to one of the larger islands off the northern coast of Ferelden. The island is quite large and covered in dense wilderness, so searching it will be an involved process. According to the runes, however, there should be some connection to the original disciples of Andraste and the Guardian of the Sacred Ashes. Interesting. So requires stealth. A few skilled agents given enough time to quietly search the islands. Probably a good idea. Trustworthy adventurers. Or, as soon as we show interest in the area, others will follow. So let's go in force. Cullen, typical. Let's go in stealth. Takes a little bit more time, but honestly, I'm in no rush. What we have. So, thank you for taking care of that. An ally from Starkhaven. The Inquisition has received a missive from Starkhaven. Most cordial greetings. My name is Sebastian Vale, sole heir of the Vale Princes of Starkhaven. I recently retook the throne of this great city from those who sought to gain it under unjust means. As a most devoted adherent of the Chantry, I felt the loss of Most Holy Justinia V keenly. Or Justinia V? I too hoped for a resolution to the terrible conflict that claimed the lives of hundreds in Kirkwall and now threatens to claim all of Thedas. I extend Starkhaven's hand in friendship to the Inquisition. Together let us right the wrongs visited upon the world. Seems like a nice guy. Could send emissaries, though the free marches cities have always been independent, earning the support of the most prosperous ones may be to our advantage. Okay. And then, last but not least, answer requests from Hasmal. Commander Cullen. Well, he's addressing Cullen directly. That works out pretty good. I understand the Inquisition is working with Redcliffe's mages. I'm surprised someone from Kirkwall would condone any arrangement with them, but it does put you in a position to aid us. Hasmal's Circle sustained significant damage during the uprisings. Rather than follow the Lord Seeker, many of our Templars elected to remain and deal with the aftermath. But our resources are limited. Furthermore, we have loyalist mages with us. Hasmal's people would happily throw them to the wolves even though they had nothing to do with the rebellion. As it stands, I fear we may fail in our duty to protect them. I trust you sympathize with our predicament. I humbly request our charges be transferred to the Inquisition. Yeah, we could do this. We have a few Templars of our own. Hasmel's Templars will be comfortable working with them.
All right.
They can assure safe passage for the mages. All right, cool. And now this will give us time to touch base with a few people. Oh, Josephine's out here today.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who was she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corpin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than anticipated. We're becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power, instead of comforting the masses.
Like the Chantry, man.
Mage circles started falling years ago. The Chantry was troubled even before the Divine's murder.
Yet many people continue to bear it great love. We will not benefit from its decline. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevara, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andraste's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
Yeah, she's got a good point, actually. Still not going to be easy.
I suppose a shared faith can be useful when talking with strangers.
Precisely. And these similar interests are merely where we begin. We must learn to think beyond our own wants to secure peace in Thedas.
How
You
did
do
someone
sound too
so
good to be
lovely
true.
and selfless go into Elysian politics, Lady Montillier?
Well, that is, really, you give me too much credit. While you're here, I do have a question. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you
we
reply?
don't. I would say no, we don't.
Will my answer
Let's
change
see what
your
she
reply
thinks.
to the Chantry?
If Leliana, Cassandra Cullen, and I could agree on our official stance, I could answer that. We should decide soon. The revered mothers don't seem to know what to make of you.
I'll tell the Chantry
No,
I was
I'm
saved
not
by
holy.
circumstance, not divine intervention.
Yet as rumors your Andraste's herald grow, the Grand Clerics may not believe such a humble reply. A difficult situation,
don't
and
care
I
what they
thank you
think.
for your answer. A good day to you.
So our approach of hitting on everything that walks seems to be working out rather nicely. Seems to be a lot of fans of us hooking up with Dorian. See what I can do about
Good day to
that.
you.
But
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
still, hey.
Any
I
thoughts on
could
the
ask
people
her
here?
about.
Who did you mean?
Let's ask her about
You
Dorian.
must have an opinion of Dorian.
Who hasn't? The man could cause a scene standing quietly in the center of an empty room. Still, I do believe he has your best interest at heart, for all that he delights in mocking them from time to time.
Let's speak later.
If he screws
Another
me
thing.
over, I'll be devastated. 'Cause I do actually like him. He's
We will
pretty cool.
study that.
Okay, thank you.
I understand you were instrumental in garnering the assistance of the rebel mages. It is well done. And I pray this Inquisition fares better than the Chantry in its handling of magic.
Well, we'll
try.
We'll do our best.
In some ways, Andraste had the simpler task. Magic should serve man, and not rule over him. That tells us what should be, but it does not tell us how to get there. So many times the methods of men have undone the spirit of their goals. Once you have sealed the breach, we shall see whether this Inquisition is truer to the Chantry or its own namesake.
Can you tell me how our people are
Can you
doing?
tell me how people are doing?
What would you like to know?
How are the villagers in Haven doing?
How are people here?
You did well to gain the mages to your cause. The people have hope that the breach may be sealed. Some of them are returning
Okay, the
to
people are
lives they
behind it.
fled.
It's good.
Others are starting fresh. In either case, they no longer believe the world as they know it is ending.
Do you have
That's
information
progress,
on
I'm happy
people
about that.
elsewhere?
The refugees in the hinterlands are desperate. Without help, starvation or war will claim many lives. Villagers in Crestwood are besieged by their own dead. They have sent word begging for assistance. People are vanishing in the hills of Emprise de Lyon. It may be demons or something worse, but they are terrified. More than that I cannot say. It is a chaotic time for all in Olay and Ferelden.
Farewell.
Make her go with you.
I like her. So basically, this is about going to close the breach. So for now, we're gonna have to focus on something else. What that is, I'm not sure yet. Let's see. We've got the artifacts, but these we should just do kind of as we're in the areas. Primeval Red Lyrian deposits we could probably do for Varric. We've got these circle tombs for Vivienne, but we haven't been to the Western Approach or the Exalted Plains, so we're kind of at a standstill there. There's a couple of things in the hinterlands we need to get done. There's this note here. Cleaning house. We still need Deepstalker hide, that's right. Fade Rift out there. We could do a few of those things. Spider Ichor. And we're not at a loss of tasks.
If Fiona
to
and
take
her
care of, that's for
malcontents
sure.
are joining us as allies, we need to be prepared.
Oh, shit.
Abominations are inevitable.
She's pissed.
Cullen doesn't have enough Templars to handle incidents. Some of the rank and file need to be trained.
I'm over her. I don't like her attitude. I'm done. I don't like her anymore. I still, like, I want her on my side, obviously, and I'll be friendly, but any romantic inclinations are now totally gone.
These mages joined us freely.
No.
We don't need Templars to contain them.
My dear, I don't think you've grasped the magnitude of the situation. The veil is broken, and the
Don't
raw
talk down
power
to
of the
me.
Fade rushes out like floodwaters through a shattered levee. You know as well as I do that mages attract demons where the veil is thin. And if demons can walk our world with no blood magic to summon them, how safe do you think our allies are? There has never been a greater threat to mages than the breach. Until it is closed, no one is safe.
Wow.
You have a low opinion of your
It's
fellow
clear that she doesn't
mages?
trust them.
It's not so much an opinion as grasping the obvious. Magic is dangerous, just as fire is dangerous. Anyone who forgets this truth gets burned.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look at you. You know, that's... She's just as powerful. Why are we to trust her than anyone else?
You're right, but Templars are a poor solution.
They are men, and all men are flawed. That some fail does not mean that none should try. The fact remains that there is no cure for an abomination except death. Someone must strike the killing blow. Who shall lower the blade if not a Templar? Tell me something. You
I
said
will if
once
it comes
that you
down
wanted
to
to
it, but-
change things. What future would you build for mages?
Oh, she's not gonna like this.
Mages should be treated like anybody else.
How free did you feel living on the run, never straying too close to villages or staying in one place too long? Paint the cage any color you like. It is still a cage. It's something to consider, my dear.
I can see your point, but the thing is I just don't like how she presents it. There's one thing to have an opinion, but there's another thing of how you express that opinion.
Your open support
Liliana,
for
what do
the
you
mages
think?
likely earned you enemies. Our agents will monitor the situation. If the most opposed can be identified,
I see that, yeah.
we may still turn this to our advantage.
Okay, but don't
You're
go
not planning
slaughtering anybody.
assassinations, are you?
I was planning to unleash Josephine on them. She kills with kindness. Regardless, I applaud you for the courage
Someone's
to
got a little
stand up
crush,
for the
I think.
mages.
Look, what you did back there was... I know you don't remember it now or whatever. I'm not actually sure.
In Redcliffe, you
She wouldn't. She'd have no
sacrificed
idea.
yourself so that I could return here.
Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
Such a simplistic look at it, but...
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble.
And I would do it again.
Anything I should know?
Altegan has returned to Redcliffe Castle and resumed his duties as Lord. The people are returning, slowly but surely. Unfortunately, our show of support for the mages has angered many.
Anything I should know?
I've nothing to report at the moment.
I'll leave you to your work.
Not so much of an opinion, more just informing us. Now, Solus's thoughts should be kind of interesting. Can we sneak through here? Yep.
The Inquisition supports free mages.
Let's talk to Dorian
What's
first.
next? Elves running Hallam-Sharal? Cows milking farmers?
Okay. Why do you have to throw the elves thing in there? I just telling people how much I like this
You
guy.
don't agree?
On the contrary, I approve. Heartily. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
Well, so long as they turn out like you, Dorian,
That means they're
we
anything
can't
like
go
you,
wrong.
I approve.
Ha! There aren't many mages back home like me.
I'd believe that.
I never fit in. Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see.
So we're doomed to a future of blood magic, then?
Not at first. But you'd be a
Oh
fool
my
not to see
God.
where this could lead. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
Okay.
It occurs to me
There's
that
going to be a
barely know
lot that he
anything
can probably
about
tell
you.
us about himself.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And
Yeah, pretty
beyond
much.
my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
Well, if we're
I'm well
diving
aware
in,
of
we're
your
diving in
finer
head
qualities,
first.
believe me.
Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
That doesn't surprise me.
do
What do you mean by careful
generations of
breeding?
Careful breeding.
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
So,
Why
are
would
they
your family be
upset with
upset
you?
with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential.
Maybe just not the
Sadly,
current status of it.
We squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
That's too bad. What is it that's like driving you to really care about it though, if you're
It
just not happy with it in general?
So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care deeply about everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why remain with the
Any
Inquisition?
reason that you wouldn't go back?
Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
It's okay.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
I've noticed. I'd like to
Can you
ask
tell
you
me more
about the
Tevinter?
Imperium aspect?
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. It's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Well, is blood magic
How
actually
often
common
is blood
there?
magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any magister would tell you.
Bullshit.
They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here and what we consider blood magic are two different things.
What's considered actual
What do you mean
blood
exactly?
magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different
Have you taken part in that?
Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
If we are able to delve into blood magic at some point, I am
You'd
certainly
think the
going to try.
Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be
And
some
nobody
mages who
disagrees with
oppose
that,
this.
or?
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a magister who makes noise, and then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
He's like the hipster mage. Is exactly what's going on here. What about
Anyone who
slavery
talks about the
in Tevinter?
Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And? Did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
I don't think he's saying that they like it. It's just that's the way that it is, and it's not right. It's just, especially if you're raised in that environment and you don't know any different, that's not your fault as you grow up, but it's important that you have a formed
Well, we don't
opinion about
have
it.
slaves in the South.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Well, and some, I'm not saying that slaves are a thing that I'm supporting here. All I'm saying is that some employed people are treated poorly, so that's the difference maker here.
Is that what
Do you
call
define
it?
treated poorly?
Treated poorly.
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
No, for sure. Is it true that the mages are truly the rule there?
Empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
What is the Magisterium exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not
So
a
then
magister,
where do you
what
fit
are
in
called?
exactly?
No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
Altus.
I've never heard of
Okay,
an
and what's the difference?
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati.
Okay.
That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
Yeah, I see that. You've got a little bit of power back there then. Maybe not
I
anymore.
thought the
but-
Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to
Yeah,
all the
I can
parties.
see how that would happen.
The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
It's the same how it is everywhere else.
If it's a fiction, that
The mages
means
do
mages
rule there,
do
then.
rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances
So
are
some
you don't
mages
rule
rule.
anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Yeah,
Can
that's kind
anyone
of cool,
be a
but
mage?
is it true?
Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Being a quaestor
Okay,
isn't a
is that
good
a bad thing?
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
So
Let me ask you
basically,
something
context
else.
is everything.
Of course.
Does the Imperium
There's an
have
Imperial
a chantry?
isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that
Oh.
face. Like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry.
Right.
Or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Right, okay, I remember reading about that.
Is the
Is it
Imperial
really
Chantry
that
so
different?
different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of
So you do
Magi
have
in the
circles as
Imperium.
well, then?
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well.
It's
But
kind of
they
like an
don't cancel
altered,
spells or whatever
alternate
your
universe.
Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium.
Ha! As if there'd be any left for them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce their magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call
I don't
him
think
that,
they
oh
call him
no.
that.
In the Imperium, he's the
No.
true divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they
What's
disagree
the disagreement
over
exactly?
Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah, blah, blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
So the Imperial
So your divine is male.
always a man.
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see
Well,
a
it's
man on the
true, why
Sunburst
can't they,
throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Oh my god. I think I know the answer to this
yourself
question,
Andrastian.
but...
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the South. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
So the way I kind of interpret that is like, you look at religion and spirituality kind of differently, and some people have like a spirituality and they are into, you know, they have their beliefs of whatever a higher power is, but it might not always fully align with everything. And Dorian, to me, kind of gives me that vibe, but he's also very political in his answers. He never really takes a specific side. It's always somewhere in between, which is kind of interesting, but I don't agree, and I don't know.
I'm not surprised.
Others might
It's
object,
not an
yeah.
opinion you should share.
You did ask, if you'll recall. I'll say this.
That's too
I
funny.
may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
I don't... Like, they just keep shoving that at me, but I don't know that that's the case.
I'm not sure about that myself.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
I
I'm wondering
know,
if the
but I'm
Imperium would be
interested.
a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't, of course. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many
Of course,
magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's
Is that
best
smart of
interest to
them?
help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen.
I didn't pick the title, to be fair.
What you'll do if you succeed.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Have you seen Alexius since...
Have you gone to see Alexius yet?
We left?
He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.
Interesting, okay. So, that was actually really cool. Hearing about Tevinter is like, wow, it's very different than us. I want to see if we can talk to this guy in the cells. I believe that would be down here, no? Requires a rogue. I don't see him in there. I don't see him in here. I'm just trying to see. It's kind of tough to tell in some of them, but... Is he in here, maybe? I just can't see him? I don't think so. That's really interesting. He said he's down the cells, but he's certainly not here. As far as I can see anyways. Maybe there's another area where we would lock somebody up, but I'm not sure. Let's see if we've got something on the other side. Oh, maybe. I don't think I've been in here before.
All men are the work of our Maker's hands. From the Maker hear my cry.
I'm not sure.
Seat me by your
Anyways,
side.
I think we will take a little bit of a break here. That was really cool getting to know Dorian. When we come back, we'll go and talk to the others and see their opinions. I imagine they're not going to be as lengthy because we hadn't really gotten to know Dorian at all yet. And then we'll take care of a bunch of stuff we need to do, so it should be fun. We'll see you guys later on. Bye.